Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Indigo Diamond here with another video, here to talk about the latest episode of Canada's Drag Race Season 2. It's been a weird week, I swear. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and tell me down below, who are you rooting for? Who do you want to win? For me, I still think it's between Pythia and Icesis. I think those are my two that I'm like, Adriana has been kind of like on this downward spiral. Gia Metric, I feel, just isn't consistent enough. You know, she's like bottom top, bottom top, bottom top. Very much like Synthia. I just feel like she's not quite there yet. Icesis has been fairly consistent, so has Pythia. I don't know about Kendall really. And Kimora gone home. So this week was the roast of Brooke Lynn Hytes. It's kind of funny how last week we had the roast for UK and this week we've got the roast for Canada. I'm not entirely sure I agree with the bottom two. I mean, I love Pythia, and Pythia is definitely one person I want in my top two, but I definitely felt like she did worse than Kimora in the challenge. Yes, she had a better runway, but I don't feel like the runway should have that much bearing. I feel like it should be a case of if they've done equally bad, then the runway is like sort of a tiebreaker. But Pythia, in my opinion, definitely did worse than Kimora. It was sad to see because Kimora just seemed very deflated and defeated afterwards, which was a shame because I don't know, she'd had so much like life and light throughout the competition, and then just this week it was clearly just the straw that broke the camel's back. She was like, they're not seeing what I'm doing, I'm trying my best, and it just doesn't seem to be coming across. So, and she did a very weird lip sync. So Gia and Kimora ended up in the bottom two. I very much agree with that Gia was in the bottom two because yeah, she spent a lot of the roast just talking about herself, and then the other jokes, they just were not funny. But in the lip sync, Gia was trying to do like a lip sync, and Kimora was just kind of like following her around, and she was like, I don't really know how to lip sync to this song, so I'm just kind of gonna almost like imitate what Gia's doing and be like sort of like a bird following her around sort of thing, which I was like, okay. So I definitely agree that Gia won the lip sync, but I don't necessarily agree that Kimora should have been in the bottom two. The winner was Kendall Gender. I think she did an okay job. I don't think she did as well, in my opinion, as the judges seem to think she did. Icesis, I think the only reason they picked Kendall over Icesis is just because Icesis went over on her jokes, like with her time. They're like, Brooke Lynn was like, she didn't even get to me and it was about me, and I'm like, well, I was like, she did get like a couple of jokes in at about you right at the end, but if you're only going to give them a certain amount of time, and I know that they're like, oh, rules are there for a reason, and it's like, yeah, but she was funnier. She was a lot funnier, in my opinion. Like, I was cracking up with laughter, whereas with Kendall I was just kind of tittering a bit. I was like, yeah, it's funny. They seem to really respond to Adriana, and I love Adriana, but I didn't see what they were seeing. I'm like sat there going, I don't know if like the really funny bits of her roast were just like cut for some reason or something, or whether they really thought that the bits that were shown were really, really funny. I did not see that. I did not think it was that funny. I thought it was okay. It was a bit awkward. But I found that like across the board, like pretty much every queen had an awkward bit. And I was like, what is going on? Like, why are they all having awkward moments? It's like, it just shouldn't be happening. No. But yeah, not going to go for any looks today because I could not find them again. They did Dungeons and Dragons. I'll just kind of do a brief overview of anyone I remember. Kendall. See, this is the other reason I don't think Kendall should have won. I did not enjoy her outfit on the stage. They were supposed to be an elf. I thought the hair went a bit weird at the back. I felt like there was almost too much fabric covering like the body armor, and the fabric was all like kind of off color. I wasn't a big fan. Gia Metric said she was going for a sort of like lizard creature because she had like scales on a bodysuit. Honestly, I got more of sort of like a plant creature because she had like these big like bits on like her arms and her legs and like everything like that. That definitely gave me more plant than they did lizard, so that was interesting. Kimora came out in this like really nice like sort of like bird costume. It was very nice. It was a bit baggy in places, and the nude illusion was definitely more of a white nude illusion than it was, you know, Kimora shade, so it wasn't great. I can't remember what Adriana did. Oh, that's what it was. It was supposed to be like a sort of like underwater creature sort of thing, and I didn't mind the hair, but the problem was at the front of the hair, where like the fringe and the bangs are and stuff like that, it was like this bright like white blonde, and the rest of it was sort of like blue, and just like it was too much of a contrast. It just didn't look like it fitted together, and the judges read her for the fact that it was more of a recreation than her drag, and I get it because you want to see kind of like her interpretation of the challenge rather than like a redo, but at the same time it still looked okay. I'm trying to remember what Icesis did. Oh, that's what Icesis did. So Icesis did sort of like more of an evil queen look, which it was good. I enjoyed it, but I don't necessarily think of evil queen when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons. So, but I mean, it was a good look. I really enjoyed it. Pythia's confused me the most. So when Pythia when Pythia first came out, she was wearing what looked like sort of like a like period piece almost, and I was sat there and I was like, did she put on the right outfit? And then she got to like the end of the runway, and then she like revealed that she had like a second pair of legs, and she was like a centaur, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, that makes sense. I was like, that's definitely like this runaway theme. I was like, this has not been seen before. I was like, this is really good. I love this interpretation. Pythia had one of those outfits that made me like verbally go, oh my god, like that is good. And it doesn't happen a whole lot with Drag Race, I must admit, but I thought it was so clever. It was so well done. It was so clever. It was such a good idea. And yeah, you know, so I suppose, you know, yeah, that probably saved her. But I still don't know. I get a bit confused when it comes to runways, because it's like sometimes the runway's really taken into effect. Sometimes it's like, no. And it's like, okay, clearly that it's just got to a point where you're like, we want this queen to kind of go now. So we won't take it into like full account, or like we'll take it into account like more this week, so then we can get that other queen in the bottom and potentially get them out, sort of thing, which always irks me a bit, because it's like, oh, come on. It's like, I know it's a reality TV, it's produced obviously, but I don't know, I just feel like a lot of the time queens kind of get left by the wayside when they maybe shouldn't. And honestly, I would have liked to have seen Pythia kick Gia off the show. I think I figured out what it is with Gia. It's her voice. It's just, it doesn't gel well with me. But I mean, there's like some challenges that I really enjoy Gia in. Like, I really enjoyed her in the Screech, the horror movie one. I really liked her in that, and yeah, it was just pretty much a no for the rest of it. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think Pythia and Icesis Couture are still my top two. I honestly don't know who I'd pick from the rest of them, because there's only 3 left, and honestly, I don't know. Yeah, I couldn't pick a third. But let me know down below, who are you rooting for? Who do you want your top 3 to be? Who are you rooting to win? I think I'd be happy at this point if it's either Icesis or Pythia. I think either of those two I'd be happy with. While you're down there, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and I will see you lovely people next time. See ya!